Right after I do a shoot, we go into a very old-fashioned way. The whole shoot is printed out on these contact sheets, basically, and then I edit them. I make a first edit and I make a second edit, and then I actually sit at the computer and look at them on screen and make final decisions. We got it down to that one image that we liked, and let's pull that one up that we were looking at. So when I left last night, there's something I wanted to try, which is, because I was trying to, when I was first photographing her in this bush, do you see how dark she is on top? Mm-hmm. And how this light is hitting mm-hmm. The peaches? I have a feeling, first of all, I think we put too much color in the peaches. Let's take it out. Let's flatten it out again. So they're softer. I think I want them to go more into the dress so that it feels a little bit more, not that they're camouflaged, but that we just don't want to exaggerate anything, I don't think. And then the second thing is, do you see how in this particular contact, the ambient light is pretty dark on top. And I found that kind of interesting. And what we did is we ended up bringing the strobe around and lit her again. Mm-hmm. And I would like to bring it back to feeling as if when you first look at the picture, you're really just looking at what you're seeing. So if we could go back to what this looks like, I don't think you should see her. I mean, really, I think she should fall into that tree. I don't mind her being bright, but we just have to bring it back down exactly. Like she's more, like the upper part of the picture is in shadow. So she actually becomes part of the tree. Yes. Okay, come back a little bit, just a little bit. Okay. Come back just a little bit. And there was something, yeah. Now, let's dig out the green around her a little bit, around just in here. That's actually quite beautiful, and it looks less set up and phony. That's actually beautiful. I don't know how bright I want to make that green. Let's just see. Okay, so the issue we have is that when we block the natural light, we lost all the beautiful dabbling of the natural light on her dress, because we were holding a silk up to block the natural light. So looking at these earlier pictures, I just wonder what it means before we actually start to block that light, some of this dabbling, like I'm looking at this. Do we want to borrow that from this picture and just add like that, just either layer it over, or let's see what it means. Yeah. Okay, so let more of this skirt come in and less of this skirt that's there. Let me just see.
That's how her skirt comes in.
Right.
That's putting a bit of that on.
Maybe make it bigger.
We don't need it here so much, but it's kind of cool.
This piece in here, yeah. Let me see. Just the light part, just this little section right in here.
Yeah.
See what that. Actually, when you darken the top part of her, I might be there. I might be very close to being there. And then maybe what we want to do is just triple through some colors, yeah. All we're trying to do is go back to the way it felt naturally, so, and we used some strobe and some silks and to photograph Alice, and then what we want to do is bring it back to it looks like You know, you're not really feeling a strobe too much. What you see on the screen is not necessarily what you can print. The screen is a very beautiful process. The light comes from behind it. You know, it comes behind, you get screen, you know, light is from behind, and it's much more luminous than you can when you go to print it. So, you know, you may love it on the screen, but it's a whole other thing to print it. So you would probably have to open up a little bit but I think it's not a bad guide, the screen. With the magazines right now, we send it in like this, and then they actually separate it there at this point. It does turn out they are going to run this in Vanity Fair, but you know they're going to put it on the online magazine, so online. So it will be pretty much what we see, and I'm still feeling like she's so clean. It's just, you know, I feel like I still feel the strobe there. For the women's show, we printed everything on Xerox, and everything looks kind of beautiful and soft and muted, but it's not the way it's gonna translate on better paper or even on the screen. So there's, you know, I've had many times gone to printers and say, I want to print it just like this Xerox, and they say, it's a Xerox. We cannot print it like the Xerox. So. Can I make a suggestion? Let's take the light out of the face, period.
Okay.
And I mean, what I mean by that is some of it has to do with the color in that head too, I think. I think the fact that this light is hitting her so unnaturally, you know, that it's so, you know, that it's coming in on one side like that, like a strobe would, I think that's the problem. You know what let's go ahead and open it up a little bit on this side of the face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just slightly, not fully on this side, just like a triangle. Yeah. Interesting. So now go dark, overall dark with everything. Because I think what was happening is there was something so phony feeling about the light just being side lighting her.
Like that.
Okay, let's try. You know, I know the problem. If you're in a shadow, you shouldn't be. You should be cooler.
Okay.
You shouldn't be so skin tony. I've had the opportunity to sort of play with color the way I would play with black and white in a darkroom. I knew how to print black and white in a darkroom and never printed color. I have the opportunities to sort of develop color the way I'd like to see it. Because everyone sees color differently. And it's definitely a learning process. I mean, after all said and done, I feel like I'm not there yet. Still with Alice. I like this a lot. I think it's a very pretty image for Alice, and I don't know if that says enough about Alice. You know, I'm surprised sometimes if I just live with an image for a little while, I sort of, you know, fall in love with it more. Can you compare it to the way we had it? The last thing you brought up on my phone? To my eye, she looks really dark, but let's just see how it looks.
That's L.
Which was the new one? Yeah. What a difference, right? She's part of the shadow now, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I love that. That's great. When you actually decide to be a photographer, it's such a different experience. You can be really creative artists using photography. I'm never tired of going to work. of going to take photographs. It's an adventure.